Our first two guests are both with Black Odyssey Media. And for those who watch the show, you know that Black Odyssey Media is one of our publishing partners. And when they have authors who have new releases, we try to get them on the show as close to the release date as possible. So our first guest from Black Odyssey Media is Casey Mills, and her book, which is titled You Could Do Damage, came out last Tuesday. So we're pretty close to the release date, and we're excited to have her on the show. And welcome, Casey Mills. And if you could unmute your mic, that would be great.
But you did strike a very nice smile, and we appreciate
You
that.
did.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you doing?
Now your sound
Wonderful.
is a little muffled. Are you getting a muffling sound, Rhonda, on your end?
Hold on, let me see. No,
Now that's clear right there. When you
it
just
might have
said,
been because I had, hold on.
okay,
Okay, is that better?
yes,
Much.
that's much better.
Okay, because sometimes my hair brushes against my earpiece and then it kind of does a weird sound, but
No, I
Oh,
understand
okay.
that. So you see this microphone that I'm wearing? I call myself trying to hide it and put it under my clothes, and then when I listen to the playback, all I can hear is shh.
yeah,
I'm like, I'm just gonna have to let it show.
yeah,
Well, you know, on TV when they're mic'd up, you can see their mics.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
But
there's a science to that.
I worked in journalism, and we do we do try to hide the mic, but it's a different lav mic. It's a lot smaller, so you can
Yeah.
Right.
put it under your lapel, and it doesn't interfere too much. But it's a fact of life. You don't sound that good on TV by yourself. You need the microphone, so there
Yes.
has to be a microphone somewhere. We just don't want it to be too distracting.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah. So, Casey, were you on the show before or were you scheduled to be on
I
to
was
do the
on
show?
when I did my
The
first
other book?
release with Black Odyssey. I did Innocent Intent.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I thought I saw that you had been scheduled to be on the show, but I couldn't
Yeah.
remember if you actually, I was thinking something happened. But at any rate, do you have a copy of your new book?
I do.
Okay. It's called You Could Do Damage, and it has those roses on there. I
Yes.
saw
Isn't it
Well,
that.
first of
pretty?
all, I like the title. I believe isn't that the name of a song as well?
The song is Damage, but it's You Can Do Damage is the chorus for it. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so is that where you got the idea?
Um, no, it's like so the title actually comes is a spin on the two characters because she basically is grew up in foster care. She doesn't really have a family, and so it's an arranged marriage. And he basically opening herself up to him, he can do damage to her,
Mm,
and with him, he's that alpha male kind of in a mafia style situation with his lifestyle. So love and stuff like that is secondary to everything. So she could do
right.
damage to him by them both being vulnerable and letting each other in. And so that's where our title came from.
Okay, I
Okay,
like
now,
that.
now,
It sounds like you put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah.
yeah, now is that a current saying? Is that one of those current like phrases that people use and that I missed?
I don't think if it is, I don't think so.
Okay, well, who sings the Damn It song?
Her is one. There's so many different ones, but the one
Oh,
that I use
okay,
for promotion is the one from her.
okay, okay. Well, tell us about how you came up with the storyline. What were your motivators, and uh, how long were you working on this story?
So I actually can write stories pretty quickly. So it took me maybe about a month and a half to create and come up with, but the motivation behind it was basically you have these two people from two different worlds, and You have her, Nari, who actually wants a family because she's never really had that before. And so she enters into this marriage as a business deal because she's kind of stuck after being almost tricked into having a family. She meets a family member when she, on the train, and it's a blood relative who basically used her. And so she ends up
Mm.
homeless, well, getting kicked out of her apartment. So she enters into the marriage, which is an arranged marriage, with the hope of doing a business deal, just basically gonna have a come up and be able to move on with her life. But she really, really, really just wants to be seen, wants to be loved because she's never really had that. And so Kincaid, who she actually ends up in the business deal with, he was scheduled to marry someone else and found out some things about that family that he didn't want to be connected to. So he sees her and he's like, okay, I need somebody, anybody to marry, and it's going to be her. They meet each other and they feel something, but they don't know what it is. And so he
Oh,
picks her because he's like, until I figure out what this is, I need her close to me. And so they just kind of enter into this arranged marriage together, both of them from two different worlds who really want the same thing but don't realize they want the same thing, just that acceptance, but they both are in a power struggle. So it's that's kind of the premise
oh.
of the story.
This story
Both of
has a
them
lot
needing
going on.
control.
Yeah, is the arranged marriage, is it in the United States?
It is. It's in the United States.
Okay, because I you don't really hear that much about arranged marriages except people, for the most part,
Yeah.
people who are from other cultures that come here, they still do the arranged marriage thing.
Yeah.
But you don't
Yeah.
really hear about it as much among, uh, I guess, Native Americans, not native like in a, not like that, but
Yeah.
Americans who live here. So that's why I was wondering about that. And did they, but so the arranged marriage, they know each other. It's not one of those ones where you don't meet the person until you get to the altar and then you find out who it is.
No, so for the two of no, it wasn't that for them. So with the two of them, she worked at a club that he frequented. He saw her there. He was instantly attracted. Again, he there was something there between them. He didn't necessarily know what it was. So it wasn't a got to the altar and get to meet, that person. It's like, okay, here's your husband, here's your wife, like that. So they didn't know each other though. They had only just seen each other in passing. And it's arrangement basically because in his world, in this mafia world, they have these arrangements where they partner up, and he selected her as the person that he wanted to marry to get out of another arrangement that he was in.
Mm. But would you? I don't know. This seems like so many different layers. I mean, it's not exactly romance. It's a little bit
I was gonna
intrigue.
ask
Oh,
that.
it's definitely romance. I'm a romance girly.
Oh, okay. Because
Okay, okay, because I
there's
was
some other
wondering the
things
same
going
thing.
on.
There are some other, so the foundation I will say is romance. The other stuff that's happening is kind of more in the background.
Okay.
The mafia aspects of his lifestyle, and then the family dynamic of her not really knowing her family and wanting a family and things of that nature. All of that stuff is more or less in the background, but the premise of the story and the foundation of it are these two people who enter into marriage with an agreement and end up in a power struggle with their hearts.
Mm.
Okay. So is this book connected to the first book you had through your first Black Odyssey book?
No, it's not. And
This
and
is
this
the
one actually does end on a cliffhanger. So there is a part two that's coming out in October.
Oh, okay. All
Okay.
right.
Way to set people up. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at that.
No, a lot of people like series
Yeah.
or a sequel, something that they can sink their teeth into and the
Yeah.
story continues. As long as it's not like a total cliffhanger, that's I like them, but there needs to be some semi closure and not just like the chapter you ended on was really like the middle of a
Well, see, that happened to me
multi-page
one
book,
time,
you know.
Gwen. I was struggling. This book was this wasn't your book at all, Casey. So don't get me. But I was struggling with this book. This book was really, really bad. But I was trying to hang in there because I
Yeah.
said, I don't like the DNF books. I like
Yeah.
to see it through and see how it's gonna happen. But the book was so bad, and I struggled through it. And then I got to the end, and it's like there was a knock at the door to see who was at the door, catch my next book. I'm like, no, there
You're
was.
like, I barely made it through this.
I was so
Yeah,
mad at the
that's
author.
where Rhonda and I differ because I will DNF a book in a minute. I don't care. I don't care how much I spend on it. If it's not if it's not move capturing my attention, the story has to move. We can't like if it puts me to sleep like 2 or 3 times where I'm
No,
reading it like
this
it's
book didn't put me
nah.
to sleep. It was just badly written. It was a
Oh,
bad
That
okay,
story.
too.
okay.
That too. That too. I will not finish. And my to me it's like you insulted me. You insulted my time. You
Right,
didn't really
right.
respect me as the reader to not put more into this. And if it's by a big publisher, then a lot of it they need better editors. A
Yeah.
lot of times I don't know if they read some of the books they put out. Some of the really, I wonder sometimes
I
because
think for me, my problem is once I start something, I can't DNF. I don't know that there are
Really? So
many. It has to
am.
be really terrible for me to DNF because I'm like, okay, I'm in this, and if even if it's not for me, I still have to get to the end. But I won't go
really,
do bad reviews or anything. I just have to get to the end just because I started it. That's
That's
my
the way I
problem. That's
am.
just like a
Exactly.
really. Oh
that's
gosh,
just how my brain
I
works.
could probably my DNF books are is probably a bigger, and I've read thousands of books, and the DNF is probably equal to the ones I finished.
Oh wow.
That's because I just I don't have to finish if it's not
Yeah.
grabbing me. I'm not compelled. I don't have a need to finish
I
just
wish
because
I
I
had that
started.
because there's some stuff I wish I could have just put down, but I
Put
just my
down.
brain is just like you're in it
I'm
now.
gonna
You got to
wonder. I'm
finish.
gonna wonder if it got better. And then
Yes.
sometimes if I don't like a book and I'm like halfway through it and I don't like it, I'll go to the reviews and see what other people are saying. And if they're like, it was so good, I'm like, what did they see that I didn't see? And then it makes me
Yeah.
want to keep reading.
Right.
That happens with books I finish. When I go look at the reviews and people say, "Oh wow, it was the best book, one of the best books I ever read." I'm like, what
What
were
did
you
you read?
reading? I don't know. I don't know, but I
No,
don't
but
post
I'm
a bad review. If I don't finish, I don't
right.
post a bad review.
But I'm quite sure that that won't be happening with this book.
Yeah,
I
it sounds
absolutely hope
intriguing.
not.
Now, how did the mafia angle get in there? Is it the actual, like the Italian mafia, or is it like a urban
No, it's not
mafia more
Italian
so? Whatever.
mafia.
Okay,
So I don't have, those layers. And it's more so it's mafia-ish, mafia world kind of
okay,
thing. But it's
okay,
more about the families and the organization of it. So you
okay.
get the structure of these families and how they function collectively under an umbrella,
Mhm.
but it's not per se the mafia like in Italian mafia or things of that nature. So there you have that power structure, but it's more so about how they all function together as an organization.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like that's just it's not it doesn't take over the story. It's just kind of
In the
a fact.
background. Yeah.
Right.
So literally it's almost like if you're writing a story about a construction worker, for him mafia is his livelihood. It's his job, same as that construction worker would do it. So it functions in that aspect of it. So it's
Right.
there. It's an intricate part of the story because it helps define his character, his personality, his struggles, and the layers of him and why he reasons and behaves the way he does. the sense of control, the dominant, the alpha in him. So it explains all of those things about him. So it's necessary for that aspect of it, but it does not consume the story. It's just a layer of it.
All right. So, what, why did you decide for that to be kind of the background character, so to speak?
Truthfully, and I think I've said this before so many times. So the characters, for most creatives, the characters tell us who they are. You have to kind of toe the line of insanity. These characters live in us. We become them. We are
Yes.
the vessels that tell their story. So it came about because that's who he said he was. And it was, I didn't necessarily go into it saying, oh, I want this to be who you are. I had an idea of the type of male character he was going to be, and then everything just aligned and it fell into place that he was going to be a part of an organization that then ballooned and defined itself as this mafia-ish style world.
Okay,
Awesome.
what's the
Go ahead, Gwen.
setting? What's the setting for your book? Like, what city
It's
does
in
it take?
Atlanta.
Okay, okay. So
Is
that's
that where you're located?
a
Yes.
lot of stuff took place.
Okay.
Atlanta,
Yeah.
born and raised.
Okay.
I was just about to ask if you were actually from Atlanta or did you
Yeah.
live there? Because I know Atlanta has a lot of transplants. I live in the DC area, and
Okay.
it's easier to find transplants sometimes than it is to find people who are actually from DC. So that's why I was
That's
wondering.
Atlanta too, though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, this is your second book with Black Odyssey, and the
Third.
company is third.
Third
Oh,
book.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
third
that's what it
book.
was. I was supposed to do my Christmas book with you, which was the
Okay,
second one,
I
and we
knew
didn't
it
come
was
on.
something. I knew there was
Yeah,
some
that's what
kind
it
of
was. I was supposed to come on and do
backstory.
my Christmas book.
Okay, okay. Because I don't forget guests, if especially if there's some kind of challenge.
Yeah.
There's something happened, or it could be technical, it could be timing. We've had some guests who their plane was delayed and they missed the flight, or they were going to be on the flight and they couldn't be on the show. All kinds of
Yeah.
things happen. So I remember the when something happened. Because, and so I wanted to ask about, since Black Odyssey they've grown, they're still acquiring
Mhm.
more authors, they're having
Absolutely have
more new
grown.
releases.
Yeah.
So how has your experience been with them as a publisher? um how have you gotten involved and able to see the process and the growth from your book number one until now?
I think the biggest thing is, so when we first came on, me and a couple of the other authors, B Love is one of them, but we were the inception. So we were those first couple of authors, and to see, and I may have this number wrong, but I believe Shawanda said there was an article that said she published, I feel like it said 28 books. But she's only, she's a brand new imprint, Black Odyssey. And so that's a huge deal to
Hmm.
have that. And so the process, I feel like the growth from then to now is just seeing the reception from the readers, and the acceptance of, oh wow, you guys are really out here doing things. And my second book with them actually made a USA Today bestseller, which is a huge accomplishment for a brand
That's
new
huge.
imprint.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
Yes.
so
is.
I mean, that's the biggest thing, is just seeing the growth from starting and being brand new in the industry as an imprint, because she herself started as an author. So to start there, and then to have all of these authors under her, and to be able to publish so many successful books throughout, her first year going into the second year, and have such a great team of authors, is the biggest thing, because you don't necessarily see that. You don't see the number of publications coming out under a new imprint like that. Black authors, is another huge part of that. For us to be so successful on that imprint under a Black publisher is an amazing thing.
Is that what attracted you to publishing with her?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you do it, and here's the thing, everyone has their own journey, but for me to do it and be able to be under an imprint from a Black publisher and be successful again, this imprint has USA Today bestseller on it, and she's brand new. Do you know how amazing that is? To be a Black
Yes,
woman
yes.
having a publishing house that has that type of success. So yeah, that was a huge part of it for me to be on that level with traditional publish with someone who understands my struggle.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
what I like about it is you don't hear about any drama.
No.
Absolutely not.
And
And very supportive too.
yes, and all the authors seem to be very supportive of each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. I mean, we write our books, we put them out, and that's it, because that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, so you said you have a sequel from this book that's coming out in October.
Yes, so it comes out in October,
So
October
you're
28th, which is really great because to end on a cliffhanger, sometimes in traditional publish, you'll wait a year or two before that
yeah,
follow-up comes out. So
yes. So kudos to you and Black Odyssey for having the sequel come out so soon.
yeah.
So the two main characters are continuing in the sequel.
They are, because I did that thing, that y'all don't like with that cliffhanger.
No, I don't mind a cliffhanger. I just said don't stop the story because you couldn't think of anything else to write, and then
No.
tell me.
Yeah, it
I
has
had a
to
lot, but if
be.
I had put it all in one book, it probably would have been 800 pages. So
Yeah,
we
if
had
it's
to
a
split it up and
cliffhanger,
put it in two. So we have a duet.
okay. Yeah, if it's a cliffhanger for me, it still needs to have some closure in the book.
Yes.
Not just, like I said, not just as if the book has 30 chapters, you just ended book 1 on chapter 15. And then there's
We're
there's
not getting
nothing,
anywhere.
it needs to wrap up a little bit
Yeah.
to where it's just not like Rhonda said, it's a true cliffhanger. Like
Yeah.
somebody knocked at the door, and then who is it? So, so Casey, we appreciate you being on the show, and continued success to you. I
when is
wanted
the book? When is the book going to be?
the book is out now.
So yeah,
Okay.
this one is
Yeah,
out, and
okay.
then the
Okay.
follow-up comes out October 28th.
Right, you could do damage.
Okay.
Came out
Oh,
last
that's not
Tuesday.
bad. You're not making us wait
Hmm.
long for the
I
next
know,
book.
isn't that
Yeah, that's
good?
what you were saying. 6 months, more or less.
Yes.
That's really good. So, and since you write so fast, you said you can crank out a story in a month and a half. That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, thank you
that's
so much
great.
for being a guest on the show. Rhonda's
Thank-
going to tell us a little bit about her Black History Month weekend because she wasn't able to be on
I was sick last week,
last
girl.
week.
I had the
Oh.
flu.
So we're going to do that between you and Maya's interview.
All right. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate you having me.
Well, we
Okay.
appreciate you being here and best wishes and all the best for your book and for the sequel that's going to be coming out in a few months.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, ladies.
You
Okay.
take care. God
Have
bless
a
you.
great night.